Welcome back to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holton. Today I have a guest that I met on Facebook. Okay, good old Facebook brought me into the world of Cheryl Dangerfield, and her Facebook page is what caught my eye, and it's called Pushing Past the Quit. And that so resonated with me because I have to push past the desire to quit all the time, like daily, probably a couple of times each day. So, and then I sent Cheryl a message and was just like, hey, you want to be on my podcast? And then I gave her my personal cell phone number. And then she called me and she's like, okay, I was afraid I was getting duped. And that's a real thing. A lot of people are reaching out and they are duping people about being on podcasts. So I always hand people my personal cell phone number whenever I reach out. And Cheryl did a little bit of digging, and it turns out we're not very far away from each other. Why don't you tell them about pushing past the quit and what that means to you and how you got started?
Well, pushing past the quit is it's about helping people who have quit things to be able to go back to those things and figure out exactly why they quit and to be able to give them that nudge to go back to it and revisit it. For me, it came from, I had some trauma in my life, and because of that trauma, I felt like I had to do everything perfectly, and if I didn't do it perfectly, I didn't want to do it, so I started a whole lot of things, and I quit a whole lot of things. So as I healed from my own trauma, I realized that there were a lot of things that I could go back and do. Some I couldn't. They look different like 5-10 years later, but things like being a nurse never happened. Doing a 5K, I started and restarted so many fitness things. So many things. So being able to help people go back to those things and restart them and kind of look at them in a different lens is really what pushing past the quit started out to be about.
Okay. Well, man, something that I had a lady tell me, and her name is Allie Casanova, okay? And she told me, like having a bad day on my diet or something like that, she's like, that's like having a flat. And whenever you have a flat, you don't go and ruin the other 3 tires on the vehicle. You just, You fix that flat and you go on about your day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if I was to mess up on something, I was slashing all the other tires. So,
for sure.
Yeah, I have found, whenever I say that to people now, because I have shared her words to me, and I'm sure she just got them somewhere else also, but, they were impactful to me because they came to me at the right time. So.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's what's happening with the page too, is that certain things are hitting certain people at the right time. But I was a lot like you. And probably still am in a lot of ways, that I'm a all or nothing. If I can't do it, like I said, if I can't do it perfectly, then I don't want to do it. And so it's just like a diet. Like you said, if you start and you mess up, then you might as well eat all the cookies, right? You might as well eat cookies for the whole rest of the week because you messed it up. So giving yourself some grace, I think, is a big thing with anything that you've quit. And like I said, things look a lot different as you get older and as you can look back and why you quit. Mm-hmm. I think that looking at things in that different lens, like I said, I think it makes a big difference. And realizing that you can just, if you want to start a fitness thing, walk 5 minutes a day. If you want to, whatever it is, do it slowly. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing, and it doesn't have to be a gigantic chunk.
Right. I've been vlogging my daily activities since December 1st, okay? And now we're into July, and, my following has went from, I'm looking at it right now, actually. I'm looking at October, which that's not December 1st, but in the middle of October last year, I had 17,000 followers. And people, and now I have 110,000, and it's been there since February. It's been at 110,000, And
Mhm.
I'm a plus size female. I mean, I'm a little bit over 300 pounds, and I want to weigh like 259 is my first, like, that's my ultimate goal right now. And whenever I get that, I'll just reevaluate life. But right now, my goal is just to get below 300, in just those small chunks. But people are
Right.
so hungry for the truth and the real and the ugly and the, I have bad days, and I mean, like, I've told people, like, I don't care. I don't care. There's days that I just did not, I was like, I don't regret anything that I've ate since December 1st, even if it was on plan or not. And I've went
Right.
from 333, I got down to 309, and then right now today I was 311.1. So it's coming off,
Yeah. And
but
yeah,
slowly.
right. It's, and those things as a woman too, those things fluctuate. But back to your point about how your followers grew, I think that you're 100% right. People want real. There are raw pages out there that you can do anything you want to do, and which is probably true, but you have to put in the work for it, which is what you're doing. And you have to know that there is some effort that you have to put into it, but also the real, the hard, I had a bad day. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to do this, but I pushed past the quit, or I gave myself some grace and I rested today and I do it tomorrow. I think that is huge for your page and for mine, is that people do want real. They're hungry to be able to say, hey, that's me. I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know what? Like, I am trying to do this naturally. Um, I I had a blood clot before in my leg, and I've actually had a couple of blood clots now, right? Some deep vein ones. I'm scared to death of having surgery, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
my husband's doctor, whenever my husband had his gallbladder removed, his doctor was talking to me while my husband was still knocked out. And I talked to him about the shots that everybody's getting right now, and he's just like, man, when he's opening people up, he's seeing things that are not right. He thinks they're the next big lawsuit, and you know what?
Mm.
That scared me to death. And I'm like, okay, I have thought about doing those shots, and now I'm just like, nope, I'm worried. He's like, there's not enough long term research on them, and he says that
Right.
he's having to remove things because they're not working. And and now I've been on this like health journey, and I'm trying to focus on detoxing because we have so many pesticides and chemicals in our life, and I've been focusing on detoxing. And man, a lot of those shots make the digestive system slow down, so you're not as hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm all like nervous about not detoxing fast enough, because like I'm trying to wake things up, and I take binders to help me detox. I'm in a sauna, I work out. So like here I am, I have had a couple of blood clots, and I'm large, and I want to lose weight, but I'm like, man, something's got to give, So like
Right.
going to keep pushing until until I'm done,
Right.
and I'm done with quitting. So like just the sentence, just the name of your page of pushing past the quit, man, like right now I'm doing this 1776 challenge for July. I'm like a big old lover of United States, right? I love United States. I
Mm-hmm.
love being patriotic. I appreciate what the men and women have done to fight for our freedoms. And so I love doing my 1776 challenges just because it makes me feel like I'm struggling, and they've struggled for us to have this freedom, right? But
Right.
one of my things is I'm trying to do 76 miles this month, and that equals out to 2.45 miles a day. Okay, well, I've only done 1.4, and And I'm okay with that. I just wanted to not have zero, you know? And so
Right.
instead of like feeling bad that I haven't done the rest of those miles, and I probably won't for today, um, I have to be like, hey, that's still a positive, girlfriend, you know? And so many,
Exactly.
man, so many people that quit something, they get so down. And I'm just like, man, but you just learned what didn't work. Or, you know, like, I just view it as education. I don't view it as
Right.
like you're done, you know?
Right. I think that's why my page resonated with so many people. And when I make public posts, like on community pages and things like that, a lot of people really, it 10, 12,000 views, for each one of those. And it's because people do resonate with that and that they understand the concept of quitting. And I think you're right that oftentimes what happens is that people take those as those continuous quits, they take those as continuous losses. And I just feel like that if you just push past and do, like I said, a little bit here, a little bit there, and you stack up those wins, it helps you to change. It changes your perspective. It changes your attitude towards yourself and your self esteem, because you keep having those losses and you just keep thinking you're unworthy and you're not able to do things. And it's amazing what you can actually do if you just push yourself a little bit.
You
I
know,
posted one of the.
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
One of the things that I posted on my page was I have an indoor rower, and when I first started rowing, I could last about 30 seconds, and 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 now I can row I do 4,000 meters every day. So, and it doesn't even faze me to do that. Where, like I said before, I could do like 30 seconds, and it just the perspective of that, looking back on the fact that I just kept going, and it was because I kept going a little bit at a time that I got to where I was. And that's the same with anything. You have to do it with business. We talked about my business that I have as well. And any of this, social media, any of it, it's just, you just have to keep going and taking those little chunks a little bit at a time, and you're going to get better. And the only way to get better is to take those chunks.
You know, something that I have struggled with is I will keep a promise. I will keep a promise to my animal. I will keep a promise to a stranger. I will keep
For sure.
promises to anyone in the world, and I will break them. I will say them to myself. You know what I mean? A promise to myself.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think my heart beats like 3 times, and then I'll break that promise. Like, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
I made a post about that too, that we don't, we will promise everybody, we'll do everything for everybody, but it's so easy to break those promises to ourselves and to just give ourselves the excuse not to do something for us, but things we would never do for anybody else.
Right.
And also the way we talk to ourselves, we would never talk to somebody else the way we talk to ourselves and putting ourselves down. We would be cheerleading everybody else, but it is so easy to talk negatively about yourself. Like I said, I think, I have trauma in my background, and a lot of times when people have these stories of continually quitting, it's because of trauma where somebody in their life has told them they weren't good enough or couldn't do this or they were nothing without them or whatever, and they just keep, when they quit, that they feel like that proves the other people right. So it's like I said, it just keeps stacking up those losses for them, and it's a snowball effect. So that's what, for my page, I connect people as well with people who are willing to help somebody push past their quit. We've done fitness things. We've done somebody's wanting to publish a book, and I've connected them with a publisher that's helping. I have someone who's wanting to jump out of an airplane that has been afraid to do that a few times, and I did that myself, and I'm going to go do that with her. Just whatever that looks like, because I feel like everybody has a story, and those stories, I think, will help other people to be able to heal. And so that's a big part of my page too, is telling those stories.
You know, talking about talking down to yourself, I think a lot of times people say something So they say it before somebody else says it, but then they just think that
Yeah.
somebody else is going to say it because it's their
Mhm.
thoughts. But whenever I look at people and they're just like, "Oh, I'm so big," or "My nose is so big," or "My chin," and I'm just like, you know what? A lot of times, yeah, that it might be a big chin, a big nose, or a big body, right? But it doesn't define them. And I always
For
see
sure.
so much more than what they see. And I've told people that before, that I wish you could see yourself through my eyes. And
Absolutely.
I and so I know that if I feel that way towards people, then I know that people have to feel that way towards me. And so I'm
Yeah.
trying to be like, you know what? Like, man, a lot of people get rougher looking whenever they get older, right? And I look back at pictures of myself and I was like, I was not happy then. I thought I was so fat. And then I see,
Yeah.
10 years later and I was like, oh, I was not happy then. I thought I was so fat and I was bigger than what I was, right? And now I'm like,
Yeah.
man, this might be the best it's ever going to be in the future. So I better start appreciating myself right now as I am, because I don't want to look back and be like, dang, I had it going on and I hated myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. And happiness is fleeting. You have to find joy in happiness is based on your circumstances. Joy is based on something way bigger than that. And you have to find joy in life. And that doesn't have anything to do with what size you are, what you look like, what your hair looks like, whether you have makeup on, whether you have wrinkles. That has nothing to do with anything. And I've learned that through everything with my trauma and with helping people, and just the feedback that I get from my page and people telling me that I've helped them with whatever. It's humbling, because I'm like, oftentimes I don't talk to myself the way that I talk to the people on my page, and it's a struggle for me to do that. And I'm like, why don't I do that? Why don't I? I'm encouraging all of these people to do the things that I still struggle with, but I think it's just human nature to do that. You're always looking for the next best thing. And I'm like you, I look back at pictures and I'm like, man, look how I looked then, but man, I was so miserable, and now I'm happy. I have joy in my life, and I'm older. My body looks different, but I have joy, and it's the inside stuff, the dealing with being able to deal with the things that come into your life, and to be able to, like you're doing, you're helping people. What you do, telling your story and being real, helps people. What I'm doing helps people, and I think that's the basis of life.
Right. My biggest thing in the horse industry, my husband and I own a trail riding facility in Sedalia, and people bring their horses here and we host competitions, and we have these all-inclusive women's events called Chicks in the Sticks. And I don't, if people didn't know that and they see me, I don't look like somebody that would own like Missouri's Best Ranch and have like a thriving trail riding business, right? Because I'm a bigger
Hmm.
cowgirl. But I know in that world, just being somebody that's not a fit man, in that industry, I've been
Right.
impactful, we formed a competition series called Country Tough Trail Versatility, and we didn't give them any points for speed. We wanted accuracy more, and it's like obstacles and this ranch horsemanship pattern and then
Hmm.
trail, combining it. And you know what? I had some people that were like, this is cool. And then other people doubted, they doubted that it would make it, like that competition series. And I was like, man, I'm just trying to help people. I'm trying to
Right.
help people in the horse industry. I'm trying to heal myself, and I share my story. I share my story, my husband's story. We share all of our story because, man, there's so much in between starting something and getting it finished. That long part in the middle, with all of the ups
Hmm.
and downs, people just want to share the highlights of stuff, but the failures, and then picking yourself back up and being like, I'm not going to quit. I've got to take another swing at this. That's what defines someone. And what you're talking about, like
Absolutely.
what I want to be, at the end of my life. And with having a few blood clots in my legs and stuff, I've had some real talks with people before. Like, I called my brother, like less than a week ago, and I told him, I was like, man, you ever get a phone call and I checked out? I was like, me and you are straight, and I talked to one of my friends today, and I was like, man, something happens. I was like, we're straight. And she's like, oh, yeah. She's like, we've always been straight, like me and you are good.
Mm.
So, like,
Yeah.
I told my husband, I was like, I've done everything in my life I want to do except for lose weight. And then I was like, at the end of the day, I get cremated. And I was like, I'll just be a little bit more ashes. I was like, I wanted to be planted into trees anyways. I was like, maybe there'll be enough ashes to plant another tree. So I was like, I guess it don't really matter at the end, if I lost that weight or not. But I want to be impactful and help people. And then there'll be like a ripple out. That's the way I am in the horse industry. That's the way I am with sharing my journey. I share my journey because it makes me show up for myself because I'm showing up for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that is kind of like a cop-out a little bit because I have difficulty showing up for myself. And so I show up for them because I said that I would, but then in turn, it's me showing up for myself. But
I don't think that's a cop-out at all, though. I think that is the real part because, like you said, people want to see the highlight reel. People want to see the before and the after. They don't want to see the middle part. And that's what social media most of the time is the before and the after. They don't see the hard part in the middle, the ups and the downs and the emotional part and the how you got there. And that's what matters to people. I think that really is what impacts people's lives down to the core because they're like, they can see themselves in that because the highlight reel just makes you feel like a failure because you didn't lose the 30 pounds in 30 days or whatever, that they're not seeing the work that goes into it. And that's what you're showing. And I think that's what my page shows too, because I talk about my trauma. I tell stories about other people. And I think the real is what matters, not your size, not anything else. It's not the after. It's the middle part.
We have a T-shirt business, and we trademarked the term country tough with it being spelled correctly. And then on that website, it's country-tough.com because we tell everybody it doesn't matter when you were born or when you die, it's all about your dash. And,
exactly.
Yeah. On that T-shirt store, by the way, just to plug myself, we don't put no fat tax on there. Do you know how many people, like now that we have a shirt company, I know how much more I have to spend on the size large all the way up to like a 4X. And people have been duped by increasing those prices so much. So we make all of our stuff from an extra small to a 5X are the same price. And so, yeah, girl,
that's rare.
Girl, one of my friends even told me that she goes to Goodwill, and that they even charge more for the plus size clothes. And I was like, wait, weren't those donated? Weren't those donated? But see, people expect it, and I'm just like, no,
right.
I don't want to be part of that. I'm not down with that life. So.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm all about being different and breaking the norms. And I think I do that with my business, and I do that with my page too, that I'm not like I said, the normal rah cheerleader, the guts and the glory and the being real. And I really hope that at some point that the page is much bigger than just being a Facebook page, because I really want people to start living like that, to push past the quit and becoming everything that they expected of themselves, more than they expected of themselves, and to be able to help other people do it too. That's what's happened with my page. It's been kind of a snowball effect, that someone who needed something, there was someone that helped her, and then there was someone that needed something that helper wanted or could provide, and it just became a snowball of people helping each other to get past the thing that was holding them back. Even when they're successful business people, they have something that is holding them back. And so it's just kind of become a community of people that want to help other people succeed and understand
Hmm.
why they are the way they are,
Well, you know what? So
if that makes sense.
I'll tell you a little bit is, man, I've been to 5 countries fighting for United States as a heavyweight fighter, and I'm pretty short.
Mm.
Okay, I'm like right at 5'7". Okay, like a little bit under 5'7". Okay, and people would never ever know that, and I think it's just because I'm gritty, right? And now in the horse industry, I got a big old muffin top. I got a muffin top, right? I got some big old grandma boobies, right? Even though I don't have any kids and I'm not a grandma, but I got these big boobies, right? And for 2024, the largest horse expo in the United States is the Midwest Horse Fair, and I was the clinician with the most presentations. And then I'm kind of a joke, to tell you the truth. Not like funny a joke, but like, girl, I ride a mule and I cut his hair. So a mule is half horse and half donkey. I cut his hair
Right.
to look like a Stegosaurus dinosaur, so it's like notched. And then I do mounted archery off of a mule, okay? And here I am,
Oh, nice.
just chubby as can be. And then the saddle, I had to get a saddle that fit him. So I don't know if you know horse stuff, but I ride in a cutting saddle.
I do.
Oh, okay. I ride in a cutting saddle, so it's got this stupid freaking tall horn, which touches my muffin top while I'm doing mounted archery from a mule with a Stegosaurus mohawk. And so, you know what, though? For me to be successful in the martial arts world and be successful in the horse world, I am not built for success, like my physical body is not, but it's the grit. And anybody can have grit. Grit is not, that does not belong to people that are soft. Okay? The people that have grit are the people that stood up one more time. Those are the people that got knocked down, but they got back up. Okay?
Yeah. They're the watch me people.
The what?
The watch me people.
Oh, watch
me. You think I can't do it? Watch me.
Oh, yeah.
Watch me.
And you know what? I'm not watch me sounds like, in the military a lot of times I was always told they break them down and build them back up. Well, I'm not somebody that's built that way. I am not a build me back up kind of person. People can destroy me. I'm not like, oh, you destroyed me, I'm going to show you. No, you destroyed me, and I've got to be okay in my head and somehow pull myself through that. Like it's
right.
A lot of people have like a bigger. They're quicker to be like, F you, I don't care about you. And that has taken me 45 years to get to that, but I'm still a delicate little girl underneath all of this. I am still a soft.
Yeah, me too.
I'm still soft, even though, you know what, I'm kind of like bred from France, where it's kind of hard on the outside, but it's still good on the inside. So, hey, whenever I ask you, like, what's your real job, man, you like touch my heartstrings, girl, because I have a lot of friends going through what you help people with. So tell them about your actual job.
Yeah, my actual business is it's called Helping Hand on Demand, and what I do is I help seniors downsize, and I specialize in helping seniors downsize. I do help others too, some, but what I do is I go in and I help them. I am not a burly guy that comes in and boxes things up. I help them go through every bit of their life, layer by layer, go through all the papers and all the things. And ironically enough, a lot of times that clutter and stuff comes with the trauma as well. So it's I kind of work with that on both, with my business and with my page. But yeah, that's what I do. I am blessed to be able to do that daily, to sit with seniors and go through every aspect of their life, from sometimes decades of their life and prepare them to move to another facility, and just help them deal with that in whatever way, the emotion that comes with it, and the tears and all of that.
Man, girl, so many people, like you only have those people that you've got on your phone that are in speed dial or favorites, right? It's a short list,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
several of the people on my favorites list are dealing with parents that have passed, that stuff was not in order. And it is
Yeah,
a nightmare. It is a
it is.
nightmare. Oh, girl, my college boyfriend, his father passed away, and by goodness, we had to go through probate and make payments on things, and like, it was awful. So, man, just the stuff, like, we as a society need to get in check with how much stuff we really think that we need.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, what's really important is some food and some warmth and some shelter. It's in water. Like, it's pretty basic. I wish that
right.
people focused a little bit more on maybe not vacations if they can't afford a vacation, but an event, or like write a letter to someone or something. But we
Right.
have our consumerness of us, I think there must be another word, but and I am a business, and this is what we do, but we do vacations and events for people, and then like we do have a shirt business, but then we keep it really freaking affordable. But I think that people need to get that stuff in check, because now after you die, everybody's like, oh, what do I do with all this stuff?
Right. Right. I've said that before. Recently, I said that about stuff that I find when I go through seniors' homes, that they have things from events like health fairs, and where somebody thinks that they need to give them something for Christmas, so they give them a mug or whatever, and they have 17 mugs. And, at some point they don't need those things, and it's a good gesture, but it's really about human connection. And, go spend some time with them, take them out to lunch. Don't add to that stuff, or go and sit with them and see if they need some help going through things, because especially with seniors, they get to a point where either their health fails, or they lose their partner, or something happens and they're not able to do those things for themselves. So it does get to the point where they can't do it, and I'm blessed to be able to come in and do that before that happens, before
Mm-hmm.
they pass, or somebody passes, and when they're ready to go to a facility. But it is a lot. There's a whole lifetime worth of stuff, and you just don't realize exactly how much stuff it is until you have to go through it layer by layer.
All right.
And it is overwhelming for families.
Oh, yeah. All right. So I'm going to call people out. Okay. If you're listening to this podcast and you have a storage building that you're paying money on, honey bun. There's a difference between needing one of those whenever you're moving or something like that. I'm not talking about a life-changing event. I'm talking about you've had it. If you've had it for over a year, and you're not like deployed in the military or something like that, and that's just a bunch of stuff that you need to go through, come on, get rid of your stuff, help people have a better time. If something happened to you, would you want people to have to go through all that stuff? So
I think oftentimes, like I said, with the situations, there's some sort of a trauma that comes with the reason why they have so much stuff,
Mm-hmm.
life trauma, losing a partner or whatever. And I think that they don't intentionally keep stuff. And so I really try to have grace with people to understand why they have the stuff, and to help them process through that. But yeah, for sure. And it really is, I feel like it's an honor to be able to be part of that, to help people go through that. The same with Pushing Past the Quit. I think it's to be able to deep dive into somebody's life like that, like I get to do on both pages. I never in a million years thought that I would be in this position, and I just feel really honored and blessed to be able to do both of them.
Back on to stuff. See, I'm an anti-stuff person because my family had a lot of stuff, and I think people, each generation, they flip-flop, If I would have had children, I bet they would have wanted more stuff. I'm over that, but,
Right.
Something that helped me out with decluttering a little bit and just trying to be a little bit more simplistic with the money that I spend on things is when I look at all of the stuff sitting around, I look at time because I had to give up time to get money to buy things. So if you're like, do I need this cup? And then you think about how much time you had to spend to make that money to buy that cup. Are you willing to give up that much time right now for it? Because you are giving up that much time. It's just time in the past. So
Right.
that really helped me out a lot. So, Cheryl, let's see. Is there anything you want to? I know you would like for people to like your Facebook page, and you have a blog that you're wanting to get started. Do you have a date in mind that you would like to post your first blog or anything?
I don't really, I kind of shifted from the blog because I do a lot of I'm a writer as well, so I do a lot of my writing right there on the page. So I don't know when that will come. I eventually would kind of would like to do some speaking and maybe I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go, but I want to be able to reach as many people as I can. So yes, definitely follow and like the page and share it as much as possible. I've done this all organically. I haven't done any kind of ads or anything like that. People have just been sharing it with people that they feel like they could use it. So as far as the blog, it may come eventually because I do love to write. But right now, juggling a business and the page and doing everything that I want to do with both, it may have to be on the back burner. Not quitting.
Not quitting. No, I
I'm not quitting. It's just, not quitting. It's just may have to take a little bit more time.
Well, and
pushing past the quit has evolved into much more than what I even imagined. And so it has kind of shifted a little bit. The intent and the purpose of it has not shifted, but the direction, I think, has shifted a little bit just based off of the feedback that I've already had.
Okay. Well, I understand about shifting and pivoting. I'm a pivoter. So like this year I started a magazine called Country Tough Times, and it is focused on trail riders, patriotism, and then thriving during country tough times. Well, the thriving part leaves it wide open. We have a whole bunch of homesteading things in there. We have a mechanic that's talking about it. My husband explained electricity for campers. But it's also,
nice.
We have mindset in there. Like I had a lady that wrote an article about her going to the Olympics, and I had a firefighter that wrote an article. I have a Hispanic, our commissioner is Hispanic, and I had him write an article about becoming a U.S. citizen and then getting into politics, like the whole process of immigrating in. And so, like, I don't know, I love that. And you know that magazine, we've had 3 editions so far, and the 4th edition is for July and August, and it comes out every other month. That thing is already in 21 states. Like, and it's print and digital, and I think that's just because I've learned to trust myself and trust my experiences, with the martial arts, the horses, and now going into the magazine industry. And I feel like if I wish that there was a need for it, then I need to find my people that line up with me. And you're one of the people that line up with me. Like, I've had some trauma, and I have to push past the quit all the time, and I'm late with things, and it's completely imperfect, but I'm going to keep on, stepping up to the plate. You've got to, there's no future in not pushing past the quit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the good stuff. That's where the good stuff happens, when you push past the quit and you realize that you are capable of way more than what you ever thought you were. When we were talking about trauma, that was kind of where pushing past the quit came from in the beginning, was that I wanted to write a book um, called The Trauma Suitcase, about unpacking your trauma and what that looks like, about, excuse me, carrying around your trauma in this trauma suitcase. And that's where pushing past the quit kind of came from, is sort of making fun of myself for quitting all the time, because I thought I was probably the only one, because of my trauma suitcase, that I just kept quitting. And then I realized, when I started sharing my story on my parts of my story on my personal page, people really resonated with what I was writing. And I realized that there are more people out there that have those trauma stories, that are affected, and that are carrying around their trauma suitcase and quit because of it, and all of this stuff because of this trauma. And trauma looks different with everybody. But once that started happening, where people were resonating with what I was writing on my personal page, it really inspired me to continue to do more writing about the trauma suitcase, and then doing pushing past the quit. So you talked about the blog. Eventually the book is coming, but it's all kind of a process, and it's all growing. So I'm being sort of fluid with it and growing as things come,
Well,
You got to
most
live that way,
definitely.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Everybody's got trauma, and I will have a book and I will break it down all the way down to the little morsels and
Yeah,
grains of what made me who I am. But there's got to be one event that's got to happen in my life before I
yeah,
can open that can of worms. But,
right.
talking about trauma, I mean, like, I've got 4 plates and 14 screws in my face, and that was not from
Oh my God.
martial arts. And so
Uh,
whenever people, whenever they say, "Oh, you have so much grit and you're so motivated," and I'm all like, "No, I survived." You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
you're a
I
survivor. Yeah,
survived, and
right.
I am. Whenever, well, like this year, I'm going to the extreme cowboy race, and I'm going to compete on my mule. And my friends are like, "Holy smokes! Like, that is so scary." And I was like, "Girl, I survived cancer before, and
Yeah.
I have been homeless. I've been homeless like um,
Mm-hmm.
3 times, 2 times by myself. One time it was my husband and I, and we could have changed that at any moment, but our property sold too fast, and then we had to move here and live in our horse trailer. But our horse trailer was not meant to be lived in. It was just room for
Right.
your saddle, and then like hay in the tongue. Like, it didn't even have a
Mm-hmm.
bathroom. And so whenever people say, "Oh, it must be nice," and I'm just like, "Oh, you don't have a clue. You don't have a
Yeah, that's the part where
clue."
they don't. Yeah, that's the part where they don't know the middle part. And I think that that's where pushing past the quit comes into play, is where you change your mindset from the victim to the survivor.
Oh
Because
yeah.
if you live in victimhood, you're never going to be able to push past the quit, no matter what your trauma looks like. If you live in being the victim, then you're never going to be able to move past it. Once you decide that you're a survivor, no matter what that looks like, that's where the magic happens. You can't have that mindset and be successful in anything.
No, no. I had to, you've got to move past things, and like sometimes that looks differently for certain people, but I've divorced part of my story, where I'm just like, yeah, that's a chapter. Like a book, if you were going to read a really good book, you wouldn't like just keep reading the same chapter over and over and over and over. You
Hmm.
eventually turn that page to the next chapter. In
Right.
some chapters of our book they're not PG-13. They are not for kids. They're rough chapters. But you're going towards the end of the book, and the end of the book is supposed to
Right.
be the finale, where all of the deep meaning and the reflection on things happens. And for that to happen, you have to move on to the next chapter, and you cannot
Yeah.
quit reading your book. You've got to go on to get to the good part.
Yep.
So, well,
Yeah, absolutely.
If anybody wants to find your Facebook page, what did they look up exactly?
My Facebook page is Pushing Past the Quit.
Okay. And if they want to find mine, you can type in Brandy Von Holton, but if you'll find the Facebook page that says Brandy Von Holton, author, speaker, instructor, and then I've got that blue, verified. I just got that thing. I seen that you have it also.
Yeah, I have it too. Yeah.
Yep. If you just look up Brandy Von Holton, you're going to find my personal page, and Facebook only allows you to have 5,000 friends. And I will tell you, I get unfriended every day. So, like, you can request to be a friend, and then I'll accept you if we've got some mutual friends or whatever, and I don't think you're just some random dude that's, scamming people. But
Right.
anyways, but if you'll find my professional one, and I have brandyvonholton.com. We have countrytoughtimes.com. And I do have a holistic weekend coming up called Smart Chicks, and where I'm going to invite people. It's only open to 12 women, and we have 4 instructors, and it's all about canning and making bread and gardening, but then I'm going to let them do all the stuff that I do. They can use my ice water bath. They can use my sauna. They can try the red light. They can try my TheraPlate. They can do all of the holistic things that I'm doing. And it's an educational weekend, and it's all inclusive. That is called Smart Chicks, and it's on my Brandy Von Holton website. So, all right.
Very
well,
cool.
Thank you very much for tuning in to Country Tough with Brandy Von Holton.